Hello, everybody. This is Israel Silva. Thank you for joining me. This is the Increase Your Income Challenge. Increase Your Income Challenge. We're here doing this, and today is Saturday, 10 a.m. Central Time on September the 28th. And I just want to thank you guys for joining me. I have my group watching, and this is streaming out live on YouTube. And this session or this lesson is called Leadership, Working Your Plan. Working your plan is today's lesson. And we're going to go into that right now. So let me just move over to my PowerPoint here. Working your plan is our lesson. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's go into the lesson. First question. What are the steps you need to take to reach your goal? What are the steps? A lot of steps there. What are the steps you need to take to reach your goal? You might have the first question you might ask is, what is my goal? Well, if you have a goal to increase your income, hopefully that's why you're listening to this. What are the steps you need to take to increase your income? Think about that for a second. What are the steps? Do you need to get more education? Do you need to find a better job? Do you need to start a business? What are the steps? Sometimes it can feel like these steps are just so many, so unbearable, so large. You're intimidated. You're scared of failure. Some things just hold us back, and we never take on the challenge. And that's why we have this in a challenge format. It's 90 days, about 12 weeks, and we go through this together. And I want to encourage you, just continue to stay watching these lessons, liking us on YouTube, subscribing to the channel. And second question is here. How do you achieve this in a timely manner? So you have these steps. Now, how do you achieve these steps in a timely manner? That means you put a time frame on it, and you're going to get it done in 1, 2, 3 months, not 2, 3, 5, 10 years. You want to get this done quickly. And that's another thing we need to do. So what I want to talk about today is working your plan. And this is being done in a challenge. The quick rules to the challenge are this. 1, you need to use the content. So number 1, you need to use the content, use the community, and the challenge game format. Content, community, and game format. Number 2 is you commit to the challenge. Now, I'm assuming you're watching this, you're committed to the challenge. It's 90 days, 12 weeks long. It's basically a quarter of a year. But if you can focus your time, you're going to achieve more in this quarter of your year than you probably would in a year. Number 3 rule is you need to work in a community. We have our own financial champion community. Some of my group members are on right now. Or you can just find a friend and you work with these lessons and work together to try to do this together, because you can achieve much more together. Number 4, you're going to track your progress. We'll be talking about that today on how you track your progress. Number 5 is you help others. When you help others and they help you, you help each other. I always say, as iron sharpens iron, people sharpen each other. Number 6, celebrate your victories. That's one of the things we want to do, is plan that celebration and work towards it. These are the rules of the challenge. So I hope you are on board and ready to move forward. Today you're going to learn 3 things. Number 1, how to work your plan to success. How to work your plan to success. And success being here, achieving your goals. How you work your plan. That's number 1. Number 2 is creating the monitoring tool for your progress. Creating the monitoring tool. It's one thing to know what to do. It's another thing to act on it and also monitor it while you're doing it. So the monitoring your progress is so important. So imagine if you wanted to plan a trip to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. And our prayers go out to people right now in Florida and all the other surrounding states for the hurricane and all the weather that's come around. But imagine if you're going out to a trip and you want to plan there. You have to monitor where you are. First, you have to know where you start. And then 2, you have to know to monitor your steps, to monitor your progress on the route to that location. Number 3 is you have to adjust. Let's say you're driving and you're like, oh, there was a detour, that road was closed, I had to take another road. Now you have to adjust to get around the obstacles. You have to make adjustments to get back on course to reach your destination. So really, really important there. So adjust the plan to stay on course for your success. I've heard that you just go off your airplane and you're flying somewhere and you go off just at 1 or 2 degrees, very unnoticeable. But those 1 or 2 degrees right now, miles down the line, will put you in a different location. So staying on that course, checking your trajectory, that vector, checking it and making sure you're staying on course is so important. So that's what we're going to learn today. Work your plan, create your monitoring tool, and then adjusting your plan to stay on course. So let's get started with the first part. Now, I'm going to say, did you do your homework? Because we've had a couple weeks of our challenge, and it is been a little bit challenging to do some of these things. And so what I'm asking you is, did you start on this? And if you didn't, it's okay if you haven't gotten to your prerequisites. So I'm going to touch on them real quick. The prerequisites was number 1, vision, personal and career business vision. And let me say that this is fundamental. Like, you can't really do anything in this challenge unless you have a vision. It can't be, well, someday maybe I'd like to travel around the world, or maybe I want to, lose 15 pounds. You have to have a much more detailed vision for yourself and put some timelines on this. In the next 5 years, I will have visited 3 cities in 5 countries, or 3 cities in 3 countries. Do something very specific, but it's like, I'm going to see myself in London, going on the Wheel Eye. I forgot what it was called, but I'm going to see myself doing that. I'm going to see myself with my spouse or my children, my family. I'm going to see myself having fun, laughing, watching a play in the Majestic Theater in London. Things like this. You visually see yourself doing it. This is so crucial, so essential to reaching your success, your goals, is having your vision. Because basically, it's like saying, I want to go to Disney World. That's your vision, but why? Why do you want to go to Disney World? Well, because I see myself laughing, having fun with my family, bonding with my kids or my significant other. I see myself doing that. And that is really, really why you're going. It's for that emotion. It's for that time. That is your vision. That is truly why you're doing it. It's your purpose. And if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have that why, you'll never convince yourself to go through the steps. Because the steps, I can tell you right now, they're going to be many. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to take work, hard work to reach your goals. Otherwise, if it was so easy, you would have already accomplished it. You wouldn't be watching this video right now. So I want you to know it's important to write down your vision, to create a vision board, to get some pictures in your mind, the pictures on your phone, collect pictures. We talked about that in our last couple of lessons, was creating the vision and goals. So again, that is prerequisite. It's hard to do what we're going to go at, from this point forward, unless you have the vision and goals put together. The vision for your personal life. And that really drives everything. Because your career and your business, you're not going to say, oh, I love my business. I spend 100 hours a week on my business, but my personal life is horrible. It's terrible. I'm living by myself. I have no friends, no family. That wouldn't be a good vision. So your vision starts with your personal life, and then your vision for your career and your business complements the vision for your personal life. So that is a very, very important prerequisite. And let's go now to the goals. That's another prerequisite. You have to have your 90-day goal, your short-term goal, your long-term goal. What are your goals? And they have to be SMART goals. We talked about that: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And those goals are what we're trying to do. And you have your long-term ones and your short-term ones and your 90-day immediate goals. We're going to work 90-day segments. That's what these challenges are. 90 days challenges, so that you work towards moving in the right direction to reach your long-term goals. The long-term goals are I'm going to have, my paid for retirement where I can take a trip around the world with my family once a year. I'm going to have a paid for car. I'm going to have all these things. Now, those long-term things, the short-term goals are like what I need to do in the next 1 to 3 years to reach those. The immediate goals, the 90-day goals, or what I need to do to reach my short-term goals. What are the things so they're all progressive, like ladder you're climbing. But again, this challenge, reaching success as you define it, is only defined by the vision and the goals you set. If you don't have a goal, there's nothing to work towards. So again, these are the prerequisites. Once we got the prerequisites, now you know your vision, personal and your business. Now you've set some short, long-term, and immediate goals to reach those. How do we reach them? What is the next step? The next step is you work your plan. You work your plan to success. Now, the number one thing here in your plan is you're going to write down the action steps required to reach your goals. So you say your vision, then you set your short-term, long-term, your 90-day immediate goals. And we're going to write down for the 90-day, this is really important, what is it taking to do that? So I've shared with you, I'm working on an online community. That's one of the things that I said, and I've been working on this for years and now launching. And so I've set these goals to have regular weekly teachings, regular weekly lessons. I'm working with my group members that have joined the community, and their success measures my success. The more successful they are, then the more successful I am, because that is what the community is about. It's you reaching your success, and that is how I become successful, to make sure you reach your goals. So what I want to do is write down those steps. Like I want to see member number 1, member number 2, member number 3, and their goals and their actions, and then them reaching them. Then that's one way I measure my success. So write down the action steps to create the content. That's one of my action steps. To write it down, to record the videos. That's another action step. To do it on a regular basis. That's another action step. And I'm making them smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Those are the things I'm doing to reach my goals. So I'm challenging you. What are you doing? What do you need to do to these steps? Okay, set a goal. Maybe your income goal is $100,000. I want to have an increase of my current income is $50,000. I want it to be $150,000. Okay, that's your goal. Your vision is I have the vision to have that $100,000 because it's going to give me the ability to go on trips, or give me the ability to buy that house or buy that car. Again, the vision is what your life's going to look like. The goals are what you're setting to reach that vision. And working the plan is now the small, strategic, tactical steps to reach each one of those goals you have set. So make them smart, and that's the plan. Planning your work. Now, there's a second step to planning your work. It's acting. So I've been taking some of my content. Again, a lot of what I teach is what I've learned over the years, and some of the books that I've read. 2 books that have really been big on the implementation here is a book called Super Better by Dr. Jane McGonigal, and another book I'm using is called The 12-Week Year. The 12-Week Year. And in that book, it gives a lot of these steps. So I'm using these 2 books as a combination to help you reach your goals. Also, The Atomic Habits is another book that I've been working off. And so all these different books, but I'm trying to make it bite-sized pieces for you. So work your plan. Number 2 step is act. We're going to have 3 different actions here. One is strategic blocks. You're going to block your time. Now, I can tell you right now, some of this stuff is new to you. It's new to me. It may make you uncomfortable. It's going to make you have to do things you haven't done in the past. And you know what? There's only 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. And that means for you to do some of these things, that means other things can't be done. You're going to have to sacrifice some things you spend time on to do these things so that you can reach your goals. Example, let's say I want you to use, in the books I've come up with, it says use a strategic block of time. Strategic block of time is a 3-hour block of time. 3 hours per week to strategize, to come up with the tactics, the actions you need to do to reach your goals. A 3 hour block of time per week, uninterrupted, no emails, no phone calls, no distractions, period. I mean, you've got to make yourself unavailable to everybody else and only available to yourself so that you can work on creating the strategy that will help you reach your goals, creating the action steps that will help you reach your goals. This is very hard. But you know what? I bet there's some people who might spend 3 hours uninterrupted every Sunday around noon or 1 or 2 watching their favorite team play, football or basketball or whatever it may be. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up your football or your basketball, but you need to give up something in order to be able to do these things. If you're going to change your life, you've got to change yourself. And that's so important. In the book, The 12-Week Year, it says you control your actions and your actions control your results. You don't control your results. You control your actions, and your actions done properly with a plan strategically will control the results. That is what leads to the result you want. If you want that result of 100,000 more in your annual income, you need to create the goals. You need to take the actions, and you will have that result. But part of that is creating the time blocks. That is how you act. So the time block here, strategic blocks, 3 hours of time to strategize per week. Okay. That is what you have to do. Second act here is what they call a buffer block. Now, a buffer block is usually like a minimum, 1 hour buffer block. And you can put that throughout the week, Monday through Friday. It can be several times a day. It doesn't have to be just 1 hour per day. You may need this to do what we call low value activities, or things you have to do, like you have to return an email, you have to return a phone call. You need to do some specific things that, when I say low value, they're not valuable relative to your goals, relative to you achieving your specific goals. They may say, oh, you need to return this phone call to help someone accomplish one of their goals or one of their things. Now, unless that's one of your goals, to helping people, kind of like me, my goals are helping you. Most of the time, these could be distractions, but they're things that you have to do. You have to answer an email that you're being asked specific questions, you have to return a phone call. They're low value relative to your own goals, but they're things that you must do. They're action items you must take for your job, your career, for your business. Those are buffer blocks. So in your schedule, in your calendar, we're going to talk about that in a second, you're putting your buffer blocks throughout the week. You're putting your strategic block that once a week, somewhere in there, was a Monday or a Sunday or Saturday morning, you're putting your buffer block. The last one is breakout blocks. And this is a 3 hour block of time once per month, not every week, but once per month. You are going to spend some time recharging, having fun, going somewhere, having a party, and like I would say a minimum 3 hours. You want to recharge. So if you need to take a day and go to the beach or go to an amusement park or go to the woods and go camping, just relax, let it soak in. This is your recharge. The only rule for the breakout block is that you need to break away from work. No work whatsoever, no job stuff, no business stuff. It is just a recharge period of time where you can let your mind relax, enjoy the moment, enjoy your life. Spend some time with your family and your kids. I'm not saying that you only spend 3 hours a month with your family. I'm just saying you need to be very intentional that you will at least spend 3 hours per month doing this. And it's important to recharge. So this is how you work your plan. You plan it and then you act. And we're going to talk about the next step here is monitoring, the monitoring tool for your progress. So now that you know how to work your plan, and that's planning and acting, now we're going to talk about monitoring. And we're going to have 3 points here. The first one is called a weekly accountability meeting, or we call it a WAM, W-A-M, your WAM. You meet once per week to discuss progress with your support group, whatever. And again, we talked about this earlier. This is a challenge that you must take on, and you will work with other people, whether it's in the Financial Champion community or you find friends and family to do this with. But you really, really, really need an accountability group, a support group to encourage you, to give you feedback. So that is a main essential. People who succeed, the biggest successful people, have had people to help them, accountability partners, coaches, groups that support them. I mean, you look at people like Tiger Woods. He's had a coach. He had his dad. There's all different things. Michael Jordan, he had his coach. He had his college coach. There's all these people who supported them along the way. Michael Phelps, one of the most winning Olympic gold medalists, had a coach, had his parents, had all these people supporting. No one person does something great without others supporting. So understand it's okay to ask for help. You really need to ask for help. If you want to get ahead, you don't do it by yourself. And John Maxwell says nothing great is achieved by yourself. So you need your WHAM. You need your weekly accountability meeting. You set it up for a day that you can spend, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. You meet with your accountability team and you talk about your actions and you go over them. So we're going to talk about that in a second, but your WHAM is there. Now, the second thing you need to do for your monitoring tool, the monitoring process here, is that you need a personal calendar. So if you don't use a calendar right now, you should buy a calendar, or you know what? Your phone, if it's a smartphone, it has a calendar. Use your calendar. That's what we need to do, is create blocks of time in your calendar. So use your system that best works for you, whether it's pencil and paper, whether it's a book calendar, or whether it's your phone. Use a calendar. People, when I can look at your calendar and I can see what's important to you. If you have nothing in your calendar, I don't know what's important to you. You may not know what's important to you. So that's why a calendar is so important. My wife, Monica, and I, we share a calendar. It's a Google calendar. And I can always look, what is next? What's planned? I'm like, oh, we're going to a nice restaurant on this Friday. It's our Friday date lunch. So again, I know we communicate that way. We set priorities. Our date time, our date night, or date lunch is set in that calendar. Spending time with my mom, spending her time with her mom, spending time with our son, doing these things. What's important in your life, you need to prioritize them in a calendar. So that's number 2. Number 3 is a scorecard. This is your monitoring tool, scorecard, where you score your activities. Now, once you set your goals, your activities, you set a goal, you create activities to reach that goal. Let's say you have a goal and it's to increase your income, $50,000 per year. Then you're going to have activities. Maybe it's like going back, getting that certification, or starting that business, or whatever those activities are, tactical activities. If you have 5 of them and you give yourself 90 days and you complete 4 of those 5, then you're on 80%, 0.8. So 80%. So you create a scoreboard, and every week you're looking to see how you're doing relative to your activities. So you planned out 5 or 10 activities to reach that goal. Are you half there? If you're like 12 week or 90-day challenge and you're like 80 days in, you're almost there at the end, and you've only done 1 of 5, that's not a good score. So your scorecard monitors your progress by telling you what you're doing week to week. You look at that, you go over that, and you reflect on that. You talk to your group about that. So again, that's part of the next one, is the adjustment plan. The last part here, we talked about working your plan, monitoring your plan, and now it's adjusting your plan to stay on course to success. Adjust the plan to stay on course for success. So what we have is we call a WHAM evaluation. That's your weekly accountability meeting evaluation. So during your WHAM group meeting, they're going to provide encouragement. Good job. All right. You got 1 of 5 done. You got 2 of 5 done. High five, virtual, if you're going to be virtually doing it. If you're doing it in person, actual high five. And you're going to get that feedback on where your adjustments need to be made. They're like, hey, Israel, I saw that you got 4 done, and that one that you didn't get done. What happened? What happened? Well, I didn't plan this, or I didn't have time here. And they'll give me suggestions. Maybe you could have done this. Maybe you could have done that. That weekly accountability meeting, that WHAM meeting, is going to encourage you, give you feedback, and uplift you. They're not there to beat you up. If they are, then you need to get a different group. But you get your WHAM group to support you. And again, these might be allies that you recruit. That's part of our challenge, is recruiting your allies. So your WHAM evaluation, that's how you adjust your plan. That's one way. Second way you adjust it is personal reflection. Now, the personal reflection is during your strategic block of time. Remember I told you that 3-hour block? During that strategic block of time, you're going to look at your past week and you're going to go, oh, that didn't work out. That worked out. That didn't work out. My WHAM told me this. And you're going to evaluate the return of, on your time. Your time is so precious. It's so valuable. And you spent 2 hours doing this activity and it got you this much value. It got you this closer to your goal. And if it didn't, then why'd you do it? Why'd you spend 2 hours on that activity and it didn't even inch you closer to your goal? It might have taken you backwards to doing something you shouldn't be doing that's taking you away from your goal. Personal reflection time is so critical and important. You need to keep yourself accountable. You need to own your goals, own your task, own the activities. Own them means like I take responsibility for what I'm doing to reach them. So that is personal reflection. Evaluate the time and effort you put into something and then the value you receive from it, the return on your time. They always say return on investment of your time. So that is really important. The last one here on adjusting your plan is action items for next week's success. So now that you've evaluated your time, let's create some action items. Let's refine our actions, our strategic, tactical actions that we need to do so that we plan it in our strategic time so that we can do next week all those actions and we will succeed. We will achieve our goals. So important. Plan your success. I know my wife's, her pet peeve is I don't want to be set up for failure. So this is not setting up yourself for failure. This is setting yourself up for success. So that is what you're doing. Your action items for next week's success. You figure out who, what, when, where, how, what do you need to do? Who do you need to meet with to achieve success? Maybe you faltered on a couple things and you haven't done what you needed to do. And you're like, I'm taking too long. I spent 10 hours and I didn't really even get accomplished. I'll give you a personal example. I spent like 10, 12 hours trying to work on a programming for some of our software that I'm using in this accountability program here. And 10, 12 hours I spent on it and I got nothing accomplished. It wasn't working. It wasn't functioning. And then I realized I need help. I need to get a person who knows more than me, a mentor, a programmer, someone who does this all the time. I tell you, I found them on Fiverr.com. It's a program where you can hire freelancers. This person knew how to program 1,000 times better than me. I spent 12 hours on, they got it done in about 3 hours. And they coached me and helped me. And then I'm like, you know what? You're pretty good at this. Why don't you take this on? And they were very inexpensive as well. And so I was able to get this done for so much time savings. And so it was super important that I not spend my precious time doing something that's not getting me closer to my goals. Same thing for you. So you need to plan your action items for next week. So that is how you adjust your plan. Last thing here is this is the Increase Your Income Challenge. We're taking this challenge and we're using components taken from Super Better, developed by Dr. Jane McGonigal. The first one was challenge yourself. You wouldn't be listening to this video if you weren't challenging yourself to increase your income. That's what you have to do. Step up and commit to the challenge, to doing this week in, week out. We're doing this for 90 days. Setting an epic goal. That epic goal will be like, I'm going to increase my income by $100,000 in the next 12 months. That's an epic goal. Now, the complete activities in Quest, that's what we're talking about today. You plan, you act, you adjust. Plan, act, monitor, and adjust. Those are the things we're talking about. Plan, act, monitor, and adjust. And so those are the complete activities in Quest. That's the part where you're doing all these things, for yourself. Now, in the coming weeks, we're going to continue working within this format, within this game structure. And we'll be talking about defeating your villains. First, you have to identify what are the villains. What are the things that are going to hold you back? Whether it's procrastination, or I'm uncomfortable, or I'm kind of fearful of this or that. You're going to defeat your villains by naming your villains, the things that hold you back, and then creating a strategy to defeat the villains. You may need to work with your allies. You may need to have some power-ups, things that encourage you. Define those power-ups, write them down, and learn how to activate them when you're feeling down and out, depressed, discouraged. Those power-ups get you going. And then adopting a secret identity. You say, I'm going to be a super duper happy person who never gets upset with anybody. Maybe that's your weakness and you get upset or you get frustrated with everybody. But you put on the identity, I'm that super duper never upset with anybody person. And you just say, you know what, when I start to feel that tension that I want to get upset, I'm going to smile and say, yes, thank you. And that's it. Thank you for criticizing me, and just smile. Learn to be that person, that secret identity, whatever that is. You're going to adopt that. That's your secret. But that we talked about in the previous one, we'll be talking about that a lot more in our coming weeks. The last one is celebrate the victory. We're going to plan out those victory parties, those celebrations. And that's something we want to do and work that in your group. Again, this is the Increase Your Income Challenge. This is the format with the 12-week plan, the 90-day goals we're putting together, the activities, and following this format in a community. You are going to achieve your goals. So we really, really are looking forward to seeing you succeed. If you're on YouTube watching us, put in there in the comments what you're succeeding, how you're succeeding, what you're accomplishing. Share this on YouTube or subscribe to our channel. Here's your action items. Number 1, complete your prerequisites. If you haven't done that yet, complete your prerequisites. Work on your vision, work on your goals. One of our homework assignments was to complete the transformational commitment form. Transformational commitment form. I'll have a link there where you can click on that. So that is number 1, your action, complete the prerequisites. Number 2, plan your work. Start creating the activities, the strategic activities to reach your goals. And so you set your goals and then act. Set time blocks in your calendar, the strategic blocks, the buffer blocks, and the breakout blocks. Set those blocks in your calendar. Number 3, monitoring. Join a WAM. That's a weekly accountability meeting. Create a WAM, whatever you need to do, and then start using a calendar. So that's your monitoring process. Number 4, adjust. Follow your WAM's feedback. So work with your WAM. They give you feedback. You make adjustments. You look at personal reflection. You write that down. Okay, this didn't work out. This wasn't a very good use of my time. And then I'm not going to do this again. And then you create the action items for the next week. What you do to set yourself up for success next week. This is the action items. So I hope this has been helpful to you. We really enjoy you working with us and being a part of this community. Whether you're our paid financial champion community or you're just watching us on YouTube and part of the YouTube community, we thank you for joining us. And I hope you can share this with other people. We want to reach, one of my goals is, this is September the 28th today. I want to reach 1,000 subscribers. Right now we're about 45 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Why can't we reach 1,000? It can happen when you share our YouTube channel to other people. So I hope you'll do that. And visit us at Financial Champion Academy or financialchampion.net. And those are our websites. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. And I'm going to be doing more and more of these recaps on our newsletter. So you get additional information. You get everything lined up, all the video links set up for you, and any additional comments. So I hope you will visit us at financialchampion.net and subscribe to our newsletter. Again, I want to thank you for joining us. And I always like to tell you, and I want you to declare this, to yourself, but you are a financial champion.